Assalamu alaikum, dear brothers and sisters. Welcome to Islamic Spirit. There is one action you can do, a simple, powerful act that makes Shaytan flee from you instantly, faster than fire runs from water. Most people have no idea how much strength Allah has already placed inside them. But the moment you do this one thing, Shaytan becomes terrified of you. Yes, you. Think about that for a moment. The very enemy who whispers into your heart. The one who tries to drag you into sin day and night. The one who tries to break your peace, your focus, your faith. There is something you can do that makes him run away. So let me ask you a serious question. What if your spiritual enemy is only powerful because you don't know the weapon you already have? What if protection, calm, and clarity were one step away? What if Allah gave you a shield so strong that Shaytan cannot come near you when you use it? Stay with me for the next few seconds, because once you understand this, you'll never look at your daily battles the same again. If you want real protection, if you want peace inside your heart, if you want the kind of spiritual strength that makes Shaytan fear you, then listen very carefully. The reality of Shaytan. Before you understand why Shaytan becomes terrified of you, you must first understand who he truly is. Shaytan is not a myth, not a symbol, and not just a whisper in your mind. He is a real enemy, created long before humans, whose life mission became to mislead mankind after he refused to submit to Allah's command. From that moment, jealousy, pride, and hatred filled his heart, and his goal became to drag as many people as possible away from truth, peace, and guidance. But here is what most people forget. Shaytan is not strong by himself. His power is not in strength, but in deception. He whispers, suggests, confuses, and plants doubts, then steps back and lets those thoughts grow inside the heart. His influence works only when a person is spiritually empty or unaware of the tools Allah gave them. And because of that weakness, there are actions a believer can do that break his influence instantly. Actions rooted in remembrance, awareness, and spiritual discipline. Actions that remind Shaytan of what he lost and what you still have. The mercy, protection, and nearness of Allah. That is why he fears certain acts of worship and certain words spoken sincerely from the heart. These actions burn his pride, expose his weakness, and push him away. Understanding this reality is the first step, because once you recognize Shaytan's true nature, you realize something empowering. He only controls those who allow him in, and he fears those who remember Allah. Remember to like the video, subscribe, and activate the bell so you don't miss a thing. Share this video with your loved ones, as this knowledge can literally change a life. What Shaytan does to a person daily. To understand why Shaytan fears certain actions, you must first understand how actively he works on you every single day. His goal is not always to make you commit a major sin. Sometimes, all he needs is one small whisper, one moment of weakness, one drop of doubt, and he begins his work quietly. Shaytan whispers in the heart, planting thoughts you didn't ask for. He waits for moments when you are stressed, tired, or emotionally low. Then he begins, "You're not good enough. Why pray now? What's the point of trying? Just sin once, it won't matter." These whispers are soft, almost invisible, but they push you slowly away from Allah and deeper into confusion. Then he creates doubt about your worth, your intentions, your faith, your future. He makes you question whether Allah will forgive you, whether your efforts matter, whether you're capable of change. This doubt weakens the heart and makes a mind feel heavy, even though the path to Allah is always open. Shaytan also manipulates emotions. He turns frustration into anger, sadness into despair, and mistakes into self-blame. He makes you overthink, exaggerate problems, and believe that you are alone, even when Allah is closer than your own heartbeat. He loves when you feel empty, because an empty heart is easy to fill with whispers. And humans feel these effects deeply. You feel spiritual laziness out of nowhere. You feel guilt that leads to hopelessness instead of repentance. You feel anger that burns faster than usual. You feel your chest tighten with worries you can't explain. You feel distracted in prayer, disconnected from Quran, distant from good habits you once enjoyed. This is how Shaytan works. Not by force, but by influence. Not by commanding, but by suggesting. Not by overpowering you, but by weakening your confidence in the mercy of Allah. His daily strategy is simple. to make you forget who you are, forget your purpose, and forget the power you gain when you turn back to Allah even for a second. Knowing how he attacks your mind and heart is crucial, because soon you will see the exact action that destroys all of this and makes him flee from you instantly. The one action that terrifies Shaytan. Among all the weapons Allah has given you, there is one action that shakes Shaytan to his core, an action so powerful that he cannot remain near you when you perform it sincerely. This action is salah, not just a physical movement, but the full turning of your heart toward Allah. Nothing crushes his influence like a believer who stands to pray. Why? Because salah is more than worship. It is connection. When you stand, raising your hands and saying, Allahu Akbar, you're declaring something Shaytan hates, that Allah is greater than your desires, your fears, and his whispers. Every bow and every prostration reminds him of the moment he refused to bow and lost honor, mercy, and paradise. Your sujud burns him with humiliation, because it shows your obedience where he showed arrogance. When you pray, even if your mind is scattered and your heart is heavy, you're still choosing Allah over your weaknesses, and that alone is enough to make Shaytan retreat. He tries to distract you, whisper thoughts, make your prayer feel rushed or empty. But even then, he fears the moment you reconnect, because with every sincere word, your soul gets stronger while his influence gets weaker. However, salah is not the only shield. Dhikr, the remembrance of Allah, crushes Shaytan instantly. A single moment of sincere remembrance, Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, La ilaha illallah, is like a burst of light that pushes darkness away. Dhikr cleans the heart, and a clean heart is the one place Shaytan cannot settle. And then there's Bismillah, a simple phrase with massive power. Every time you say Bismillah before an action, you block Shaytan from entering that moment of your life. Before eating, entering your home, starting your day, every Bismillah is a door closed in his face. It frustrates him, weakens him, and reminds him that Allah's name stands above all his attempts. But salah remains the action he fears most, because when you fall into sujud, you come closer to Allah than at any other time. Shaytan looks at you in that position and remembers his own downfall, the pride that made him refuse, the arrogance that sealed his fate. Your sujud is your strength and his defeat. A person who establishes salah consistently, even imperfectly, becomes spiritually protected. Their heart becomes harder for Shaytan to influence. Their mind becomes clearer, their emotions calmer, their temptations weaker. Salah builds a shield around the soul, a shield Shaytan cannot penetrate without permission. This is why he tries harder than anything else to make you delay prayer, rush through it, forget it, or treat it as a burden, because he knows the truth. Once you protect your salah, you become someone he cannot control. And the moment you rise for prayer, the moment you whisper Allah's name, the moment your forehead touches the ground, Shaytan does not just fear you, he runs from you. Why this action has power? To understand why salah terrifies Shaytan, you must understand the power it gives you on spiritual, emotional, and psychological levels. Power that most people never realize they possess. Salah is not just a ritual. It is a transformation. Every time you stand before Allah, something inside you gets repaired, strengthened, and protected in ways you cannot physically see but deeply feel. Spiritually, salah strengthens a heart because it realigns you with your purpose. Your soul was created to worship Allah, and when you fulfill that purpose, the heart becomes alive. A living heart is dangerous to Shaytan because it can only whisper into a heart that is empty, distracted, or disconnected. But a heart that just spoke to Allah, a heart that remembered its Creator, bowed in humility, and tasted the sweetness of sujud, becomes stronger than any whisper. Salah fills your inner world with light, and Shaytan cannot stand in the presence of that light. Psychologically, salah blocks Shaytan's whispers because it interrupts your mental pattern. When you pray, your mind pulls away from stress, overthinking, guilt, and negativity. You break the chain of destructive thoughts, and in that pause, clarity enters. Salah creates mental space where Shaytan's voice becomes quieter, weaker, less believable. The simple act of facing the Qibla and repeating the words of prayer resets your mind, reminding you that your value is not determined by fears or doubts, but by your connection with Allah. Emotionally, salah gives you stability. It calms the storms inside your chest. When you enter sujud, your forehead touching the earth, your heart releases the weight it was carrying, sadness, anger, anxiety, confusion. Shaytan loves emotional chaos because when emotions are unstable, he can manipulate them easily. But Salah balances your emotions. It lowers the intensity of anger, softens the heart, quiets the noise, and replaces turmoil with serenity. A calm heart is a fortress that Shaytan struggles to penetrate. Another reason this action terrifies him is because angels replace his influence during and after prayer. When you remember Allah, angels surround you, pray for you, and protect you. Their presence pushes Shaytan away. The closer the angels come, the weaker Shaytan becomes. It is like light overpowering darkness. They cannot exist in the same space. In sujud, when you are at your closest point to Allah, the angels are nearest too, and Shaytan cannot come near a person who is wrapped in that divine protection. And then there is the gift of inner clarity. Salah removes the fog that Shaytan tries to place over your heart. Suddenly, the things that felt confusing become simpler. The problems that felt heavy feel manageable. The guilt that felt paralyzing turns into hope. That clarity is terrifying to Shaytan because confusion is his tool and Salah destroys it. When you finish praying, even if nothing around you changes, something inside you does. You feel a sense of direction, of being guided, of being watched over. Finally, Salah gives you protection, not just spiritual protection, but emotional and psychological resilience. It builds patience, humility, strength, discipline, and self-control. It teaches you to pause before reacting, to breathe before breaking, to turn to Allah before turning to despair. And a person who is disciplined, patient, and connected to Allah is a person Shaytan fears deeply, because he knows he cannot pull him into sin easily. This is why Salah has power. It repairs what he tries to break. It illuminates what he tries to darken. It calms what he tries to disturb. And it builds what he tries to destroy. When you pray, you don't just worship. You protect yourself. You build a shield made of faith, clarity, and peace. And to Shaytan, that shield is impenetrable. A short story/example scenario. It was late at night and the house was silent. Ahmed sat on the edge of his bed, staring at the floor, feeling a heaviness in his chest he couldn't explain. His mind was racing with thoughts, regrets, worries, fears. One whisper after another, subtle but sharp. You're failing. You've wasted your life. There's no point trying anymore. The more he sat there, the more the darkness inside him grew. His heart felt tight, his eyes burned, and he felt completely alone. In that moment of weakness, Shaytan saw an opportunity. He pushed the whispers deeper, turning sadness into despair, confusion into hopelessness. Ahmed felt the urge to skip his prayer, to lie down and let the heaviness swallow him. His thoughts spiraled, and his breathing became shallow. It felt like a spiritual weight pressing against his chest. But then, from somewhere deep inside, a small memory surfaced, a reminder that Allah is always near. With trembling hands, Ahmed whispered, "Bismillah." The moment those words left his tongue, the atmosphere shifted slightly. The suffocating pressure loosened, just a little, and that tiny release was enough. He stood up, weak but determined, and walked to the corner of his room to pray. As he raised his hands and said, "Allahu Akbar," something invisible broke. It was as if a barrier of darkness shattered around him. Shaytan, who had been feeding on his doubts, felt the light that came with those words and fled instantly, unable to remain where Allah was being remembered. Ahmed moved through his prayer slowly at first, his voice soft and shaky. But with every verse he recited, his heart gained strength. In sujud, his forehead against the ground, the heaviness melted away. The room that moments before felt suffocating now felt peaceful, warm, and filled with something pure. When he finished, he remained sitting on the prayer mat, breathing deeply. The despair that had felt overwhelming was gone. His head felt clearer, his chest lighter, his emotions calmer. Tears fell, not from fear, but from relief. He realized that Shaytan had tried to break him, but the moment he remembered Allah, Shaytan lost all power. That night, nothing outside Ahmed's room changed, but everything inside him did. Practical steps for the viewer. Now that you know what terrifies Shaytan, here are simple steps you can start applying every single day to protect your heart, your home, and your peace. 1. Pray as soon as the adhan comes, don't delay. Shaytan becomes strongest in the moments you say later. When you stand quickly for salah, you break his influence before it grows. Make your goal to pray within the first few minutes. This habit alone weakens 90% of his daily whispers. 2. Say Bismillah before every action, before you eat, leave your home, enter your home, begin work, or even start your car. Say it softly. Every Bismillah is like closing a spiritual door in Shaytan's face. Over time, you'll notice fewer negative thoughts, fewer sudden mood swings, and more calm. 3. Fill empty moments with dhikr, walking, cooking, cleaning, resting. Say Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, La ilaha illallah. The more dhikr your home carries, the less space Shaytan has to whisper. You'll feel your mind become lighter and your heart feel cleaner. 4. Protect your sleep with remembrance before you sleep. Recite whatever short adhkar you know. Even a few lines create a shield around your bed. You'll notice fewer nightmares, less anxiety at night, and deeper, calmer sleep. 5. Build a daily routine of connection. Choose at least one prayer every day to pray with full focus. No rush, no distraction. Even if the rest are simple, that one deep moment builds spiritual strength and consistency. 6. Keep your home spiritually alive. Let Quran be heard in your home often. Even a few minutes a day pushes Shaytan out and brings tranquility in. Over time, you'll notice your home feel warmer, more peaceful, more protected. 7. Be consistent, even if small. Shaytan fears consistency. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to keep going. Small daily steps create a heart too strong for him to influence. All of this begins with one decision. Remember Allah more than Shaytan whispers. Now you know something powerful, something most people go their entire lives without realizing. Shaytan is not stronger than you. The moment you remember Allah, the moment you rise for salah, the moment you say Bismillah, you become someone he cannot control. You have a shield, a light, and a strength that comes directly from the one who created you. So don't let this knowledge stay only in your mind. Let it live in your daily actions. Protect your heart, protect your home, protect your peace. You have the ability to push darkness away simply by turning to Allah. May Allah protect your soul from every whisper. Fill your home with tranquility. Strengthen your heart with faith, and surround you with angels wherever you go. Allahumma fathna min kulli shar. Oh Allah, protect us from every harm. If this reminder touched your heart, share it to protect someone you love. If you want more spiritually powerful content, follow for daily reminders. And if you want Shaytan far away from your life, comment, Allah protect us. Your journey to spiritual strength begins right now, with one action, one prayer, one moment of remembering Allah. Let today be the day you take that step. If you like this video and want to learn more about good ways to communicate with respect and kindness, then like this video to support the message. Subscribe so you don't miss any future videos. Share this video with your loved ones so that together we can spread more kindness. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. Tell me in comments what question has ever made you uncomfortable and how you'd like people to communicate with you. See you soon for a new video.